James, you've talked about sales and the importance of sales. I would really like to focus for a few minutes on social media and its interaction and benefit to sales. Now, for those folks online who are watching this, they know that I operate a myriad of different networks and platforms and am very active on social media specifically and out in the community, but they dovetail, they combine. What's your take on social media and sales? And I mean, this is coming from a guy who runs on many different networks. What's your take and how do you approach social media in this new kind of world of sales?
So, to back this up a little further, when I was 17, I worked in a locally owned furniture store. And good school to work at. Really learned lots about people, learned lots about sales. But one of the things I'll never forget is a gentleman who walked in one day to sell us a new device. And it was going to replace salespeople. It was the device that allowed you to send a contract out, have the customer sign it, and it would come back to you electronically. It was a fax machine, and it was going to replace salespeople. Later in life, I worked for Shaw Communications selling high-speed internet to small businesses. And we had a young guy who was our sales manager. He was very pumped and very gung-ho that, the internet was going to replace sales. And what's interesting is, over time, different devices have come along to replace salespeople. Simple truth is that humans buy from humans. The internet and social media allows us to communicate with people in multiple ways. As you're well aware, I spend most of my days in Zoom meetings. But I also spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. For example, last year I posted 177 times on LinkedIn regarding VDQ for the most part. I added another 12,000 contacts to my LinkedIn profile. Out of that, I've generated probably 30 or 40 meetings. It takes a lot of work. Every day I do some. Now, I am not on Facebook. I am not on Twitter. The reason I am not on the myriad of other social media platforms, as you're well aware that people do use, I don't have the time or resources. My recommendation to companies I work with is that they actually engage people to do that work for them, but control the messaging. Piece of information I was once given by a very wise woman, my Polish grandmother, who had a very favorite line of hers, was that times change, people don't. So if I talk to you in person, or I talk to you by Zoom, or I talk to you by phone, or by letter, what I'm trying to achieve is always clear in my communication because I've started with a plan. Social media allows us to reach many people in many ways, but then we forget, oh, now I have to adjust. It's early morning here now. I had a meeting earlier this morning. Well, actually, it started at 4:30 a.m. with a minister from the government of Uganda. Now, for her, it's 4 in the afternoon. So I have to put myself in the mindset of someone late afternoon, their day is running down. Their brain is at a different place. How they communicate is different. I have to adjust everything I do. I cannot get up and go, oh my God, I've got to be up at 4:30 in the morning. Why am I doing this to myself? I still have to be bright, chipper, and fresh. Does that mean at 3 o'clock this afternoon I'm going to be a fun guy to be around? For a customer, yes. For you, no.
And you mentioned getting leads off of LinkedIn and having folks manage that message, for people who want a variety of different networks and platforms. And I'm very fortunate in the fact that I actually run a social media management company, and so it's with that understanding and knowledge that you practice what you preach. But I'm impressed that you have identified that you can do one platform really well and leverage it to the max. That's very important, and I think many folks out online today could learn from that. I appreciate that.
Well, also, it was a choice I made. LinkedIn is primarily business to business. There is some argument, you'd reach more people on Facebook. But in truth, I'm not looking for friends. I am looking to do business with people.
Absolutely.
And by making it a clear business environment, it does make that a little easier. I get a little annoyed with some people who try and use LinkedIn for political activities or social activities. I'm just confused by them. There are so many other choices you have. Go do that there.
And that's a very important point, is that this is why it's critical for folks, especially in business, who are looking to get, in front of the face of new customers or different customers. It's good to have someone who understands, first of all, the platforms, but then also understands how people operate and then, of course, manage that message consistently.
Well, and also in that consistent message, decide what your message is. You know, for a long time with companies, I've touted on the fact that you need a tagline. So VDQ, I'm pushing that we change our tagline to VDQ powers the circular economy. Because VDQ takes garbage, converts it into energy, that creates an entirely circular economy. More complex the message, the easier it is to get lost. By saying that we power the circular economy, it allows people to adjust to it. Profit Source Sales Training, which was my personal company I ran for 20 years, which trained, recruited, and managed sales teams for people. Our tagline was, "We make you money." Simple belief that by giving someone an opportunity to be lazy and make money, they would be more excited about talking to us.
And it obviously worked.
Well, it did. But the message you want to give someone is always consistent. Who you are, what you are. You know, someone who meets me in the woods when I'm out hiking alone meets a different person than someone who meets me in a boardroom. It does not mean that I'm playing a role or behaving differently. It's because I'm choosing to project this or that. What we are is complicated. What people can absorb about other people, you don't want to make too complicated.